Get on with it, man. All right, so you guys can see me in that camera, right? I'm red, orange, and yellow. So, with that being said, I'm the warmest thing inside the video. That's why it's red, orange, and yellow. It is set up to white, hot, black, cold. The blue and black around me, what we're looking for there is for things to start moving on their own.
What do you want?
Yep, that's my ringtone, everybody. That's when somebody books a tour. Every time you guys booked your tour, that's what I heard. So, at any rate, we're looking for the blue and black to move on their own. So in case something blue or black comes across a red, orange, and yellow area, we obviously have something going on. I don't get excited yet because we have things to prove or debunk that. Again, I'm not going to make things up for you. So, when you take me out of this picture, it's going to fluctuate. So, with that said, there should be red, orange, and yellow on the screen now that's not skin. My skin's going to be 97 to 99 degrees. Hopefully it's not higher than that. Thank you, COVID. So, by the way, we're going to cover COVID stuff here in a minute. But, Ben, I think I'm going to go with you on this one, man. You're going to hold that horizontal all night just like that. The red square means that it's recording. Now, if that red square turns to a circle, you're the jerk, because now it takes me a whole lot longer to splice video together. No pressure. So,
all right.
Just let me know. It's really not that big of a deal. I just need to know so I know which video goes to where. Let's cover COVID stuff real quick. So COVID crap, thank you all for bringing masks. I have epilepsy, as Clove already knows. It's difficult for me to wear this thing for long periods of time. You will see me take breaks when I kind of separate everybody and say go explore. I need a few minutes just to kind of get my bearings straight. They are giving tickets. If you guys decide to take your masks off, I personally don't care. I'm not paying your ticket. You're not going to pay mine. That's the way that's going to work. All of your devices have been sanitized, which is another reason why I was late, because I sanitize everything 3 times a day, once before I upload your data and once before every tour. And then as far as extra masks go, I don't see any medical masks, but I do have extras in case somebody's rubber bands break or something gets crazy. So we're covered there, and I do have hand sanitizer in case anybody needs it. So we're covered on all of that. Is everybody comfortable with that? Good, because I hate talking about COVID, because you guys are all here to get away from that, right? So let's keep the, we're going to bring out all the tools tonight, by the way, because it's a full group. Which means everybody's going to be working independently. Well, with a pair, but you're going to have your own stuff. So, Heather, was it?
Yep.
Look at me, I remember the name. So, you're going to be helping him out trying to prove or debunk what he has actually got going on.
Okay.
We all know what this guy is, right? Mm-hmm. Going to measure surface temperature with the red dot. I don't know what the temperature is between the gun and the dot, though. That's where this guy comes into play. So, in the event, Ben says, hey, Nick, there's a big blue blob moving around on the wall. I can't tell what it is, but everything around it is orange. So, I'm going to measure the wall. If the wall is the same temperature, I now know that that blue blob is between Ben and the wall. Does that make sense? That's where this guy comes in. We're going to use the probe at the top. It is the bottom number, by the way, to help us find the ambient temperature of where that blue blob actually is and try to figure out what's actually happening to make sure it's legit. Is that fair?
Yep.
You get both of those.
Okay.
The yellow one's not so active, and you do have a laser. We're going to be using several lasers tonight. Lasers get Nick in trouble. They can set off car alarms. They're that powerful, some of them. And of course, I'll say when we're not allowed to use lasers. All right.
Don't shine them at people.
Right in the eye.
Yeah,
Maybe the
thanks.
head.
You will send Nick to jail in a heartbeat.
The forehead.
And probably jail. I'll be honest.
So, let's get the skeptic going. How do I want to get the skeptic? All right. So, Clove, you probably remember this spirit box that I was using. I now turned it into its own device. This way I can bounce around with the team a little bit more. Okay. So, this is a spirit box. Well, let me first explain how spirit boxes work. So it's going to sweep through FM radio stations at a very quick rate. We're going to use 3 different types of spirit boxes tonight. Actually, I think I'm actually going to send this one over to you guys first. I have a different one for you. That's going to be more convincing. So this particular one, it's an app. It works by a phone. 80% of the words that it's going to give us don't mean anything. The other 5 to 20% are very definitive answers that I can prove. That's what we're after. So when I can give you a word list, I'm going to show you how it works here in a second, as soon as I get the phone up and running. So it's going to give us words in the center of the screen from time to time, and then it's going to save them to a list. This is the list from the last group I just did. They had 83 terms. That's quite a bit. Again, 80% of this or more is not going to mean anything. It's going to be the other words that I'm going to give you and bold them and tell you why it's relevant to the location of where we are, as far as what I'm talking about, a person I'm talking about, or something going on with one of us. It happens all the time. So it might be giving us direction. Move up here. You're wearing a black hoodie. We never know what it's going to say. So we're going to clear out this list because I already emailed it to myself to give it to them tomorrow. And you guys are literally just going to be watching this thing. So, I'll show you guys more about your devices tactfully in the first location. This is more of just, let's get them in your hands, let's get you guys going. So, this spirit box is my favorite tool. This one literally will sweep through the FM radio stations at a very quick rate, just like your TV shows. Just that white noise, staticky type sound. With this one, it's slowed down. I want the radio chatter to come through. I want the song lyrics, the DJs, the commercials. It's a 50-50 shot that it's a tie or a piece of communication back to us. Again, 50-50 shot. Not all of it's going to make sense. So, it's going to record the entire session for us without any outside noise, which means it's not going to hear us. It's also going to be recording while it's on mute. So even when I'm talking, it's already recording right now. So you're going to get this full recording back without any breaks in it tomorrow morning, and I'm going to give you certain audible pieces that I find with the timestamp. So that way you can go directly to it, and if it's relevant, I'll give you the link of why it's relevant. Same thing with the word list. That's going to you. You have one button. At the very top of it, there's a button and then a wheel. Right next to the button, the wheel controls the volume. That's all you need to worry about.
Okay.
So I'll say spirit box is up because there's another one that's a little bit noisy. You don't have to worry about yours so much. But with that said, I'll say spirit box is up when we're ready and able for that. To go along with your spirit box, I know I haven't even touched you guys yet. We're going to use an EMF meter. These are pretty common, right? You guys see these on your TV shows. There's a reason why they use this specific one. It's super sensitive. So there's 3 different types of electromagnetic fields, and that's the way spirits pretty much move through our world. The first one is going to be natural. It comes from the earth. That's why it's green. It doesn't do anything. We don't care about it just doing nothing. The next thing is going to be electronic devices. It's going to make it go into a rhythm or a pulse. We don't really care about that either. We want this thing to go a little crazy. So when you see the lights just light up like a Christmas tree, that's going to be a good spot for them to start asking questions to their spirit box. So that's going to go to you. Think you can handle that? Just lights, man. You got this. You guys are really quiet.
Learning.
We're listening.
I know. I must be a good history
And you
teacher.
targeted me for being a Commodore, so.
Now he's afraid.
I bust out all the tools. Alright, so Clove, we're going to give you the neuralizer. You good with that?
Yeah.
Okay. So, you guys, I'm a big movie buff, so I want you guys to just keep that in mind. Your spirit boxes, I want you to think of them as Bumblebee from Transformers. Bumblebee, communicates through the radio kind of principle. This is the neuralizer for Men in Black. It's going to erase all of your memories. So, it's really a great pen. Right? Might need to change your batteries, Clove. I just put new ones in it, but it may have been drained. So really what's happening here is you guys can obviously see the green dots on the ground, but you can't see the green lasers from the pen to the ground. So in the event something passes through it, that's what we're looking for. So we want to see something pass through it quickly. We're going to have a camera going on this thing, so that way when we are using it, lasers obviously get us in a lot of trouble. That's part of the reason why I'm giving it to you, because you know the spots. So, but again, we're going to change your batteries on the first location too, because that's pretty weak. So that's the first one. The second one that we use is a little bit more complicated than that. Yes, it's lasers, but as soon as it comes out of the case, this one gives us red squares. So why red squares? So in any event we capture something here on either film or camera, then I can put that in 3D software and give you a full 3D view of the apparition that we caught. So how cool is that, right? So that's going to go to you as well. You know how this works. He knows not to cross the streams either. Ghostbuster joke, guys. Come on. Alright, so you guys already have one spirit box on there. I'm trying to think of what else I got left. So I'm also going to be giving, I'm going to give you the camera, just because I mixed this up really weird. So just because it's an odd number of people. So really what you're going to be doing is obviously touristy pictures, take as many as you like. But really, Clove, go ahead and point one of those down for me. You're going to be taking pictures through it. Not down at it. I don't really care what's on the ground. I care what's going through it. The things that he's going to miss, I don't care how far away you are. Hopefully the further away the better. And not to mention, I don't give this to teenagers and under because they don't know what it is. So 2 buttons, on and off, and then obviously shoot. The other spirit box we're going to be using is going to be going to the rest of your party. I normally put 2 people on this one because it doesn't record. So, as soon as I find the on button, I kind of set it up. Go on a specific side. Now this one is your typical one that you'll see on your TV shows as well. So the reason why I got the other one is because it records. That's why I love that thing so much. So obviously the last team left the volume up. You guys literally have one volume, or one button to worry about. It's the volume as well. It's on the side of the speaker. You hold it up to get it going. Then you gotta hold it to get it, and then you just hold it down to get it down. So again, 2 of you will be working on that together. And of course, Clove knows what to listen for as well. All right, so I think that covers everybody. Everybody has a device in their hand except for the 2 sharing, right? Because I like 2 sets of ears on that anyway. So,
does the flash need to be on with this?
oh, flash on this particular camera when you're ghost hunting, you don't want a flash. You don't want false positives. So just leave the settings the way they are. I don't care how dark these pictures are if I see something abnormal. My wife does all the graphic design and photography work for me, so I send it over to her. That's what she went to school for. So if we can debunk it, I'll lighten it up a few times and say, what do you see in this? She'll either debunk it or prove it. So that's just kind of how we roll. We don't like to give false positives. All right, so we all start here for a reason. Questions, comments, concerns about everybody's cool devices that you guys have? And it's way colder out here than I was expecting. I wore shorts today. I'm like, what was I doing? But I usually carry the bag, but you guys just emptied it for me, so I won't be huffing and puffing. So, we started here for a reason. This place is haunted, of course. This used to be a place called Big John's. Big John was a football player for the 1947 New York Giants. I'm not a football fan, so I kind of had to memorize this crap. So, he used to sit in the back of the bar, and he would tell the bartender if the cadets that came over from the Citadel, if they were old enough to drink or not. One night, 2 guys come in, they're not old enough. Big John tells the bartender, get them out of here. So they leave. They're pretty angry. They come back the next night, and they try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. Not very cool. Big John sees what's happening. They get into a big bar brawl. A couple of shots were fired. John gets shot in the neck. Bullet ricochets and lands in the wall. He gets up after beating 2 guys into the floor, tells the bartender to get him another beer and get them other guys an ambulance. Now, nobody dies in that story. So what's haunting the place? The bullet hole. Still here, to my knowledge. They're renovating, so I'll have to double check when they're done. But people that sit in the front of the bar tend to not feel well. Get a little queasy, headaches, those kind of things. And it's the only place I've ever gotten an EMF is right in the front of the bar. And it's random. It's not every single night that I've ever been in there. So with that being said, I say this on purpose because I don't know how paranormal activity is going to affect any of you. If any of you are feeling any of those symptoms, I need to know right away. We'll move on pretty quickly. Get you a bottle of water, whatever we got to do. I don't say that to scare you because this is not a scary tool. It's a literal health hazard. And Heather's looking at me like, seriously? I'm going to be getting a headache?
That's not why I'm looking at you like that.
So, I've had people pass out. I've had psychics just say no. Like, it's a big deal to me. So, just let me know. And speak up for the person in your party because they won't. So, let's get our minds off our own health. We had a big earthquake in 1886. The mantle above your heads broke off and killed somebody, and allegedly that was the first death from that earthquake.
I know, I was like, why are we standing under this?
Part of the reason why I pushed it there. I want to see how many people are going to move forward. I'm the writer. You're all characters to me. I got to see who does what. So, with that being said, I don't have any proof of that. It's just one of those through the grapevine tour guide-y type stories, and it also gets our mind off of our own health. So, you guys ready to go ghost hunting? What do you think, Owen? You ready? It's all about you tonight, man. We're going to be watching your EMF like crazy. Because you're the first person that's going to be able to tell us if something's happening or not. All right, let me wrap this up and we will get rolling. So, do you guys all understand the data you're going to get back? You're going to get the video, the audio, the word list, the recording, and any crazy pictures that we capture. All the other stuff is just an accompaniment. So we'll see what happens along the night. All right, we're going to go this way, guys.
Selfie stick.
You guys are really soaking me in, man. I don't know if I should be the one creeped out or not. Alright, so welcome to the big red barn lot. You're going to see that the volume of my voice changes here because we do have horses inside this barn. The horses here are the ones that take you on your carriage rides. They can hear us through those open barred windows. So absolutely no lasers on there. I think Clove already remembers that. So where's my other laser? Absolutely no lasers inside those windows. The only history I have here, guys, this is really a practice place. This is for you guys to get used to your devices, and I can bounce around with you and show you more tactics. And it's very quick. This is the same red barn that kept horses that delivered milk to Charleston. So that's it. That's the only history I got. So let's talk about those spirit boxes and why the information is relevant. Spirit boxes, this is not TV. This isn't, is somebody here. First off, if they say no, I mean somebody's here. Okay? So, but if you people with the regular spirit boxes that actually make noise and you're hearing radio stations and it's a commercial for real estate and you hear the word houses, you think you heard yes. We don't go into yes and no questions. It's irrelevant. Now you're going to be watching the TV shows and you're going to be saying, wow, Zach Bagans really screws it up every single time. So yes and no is just too common. We want to go after something very specific. So we're going to be asking something very simple. What color is the barn? Okay? We all know it's red, right? Unless somebody's colorblind and I offended, now you know it's red. So what color is that barn? You're going to be listening to your spirit boxes, listening for the color red or something else that is specifically red, like a fire truck, a cardinal, a rose, things that are commonly red that would make sense. We're putting clues together. This isn't going to be a full conversation of, hi, my name's Bobby, I played for the New York Giants. Like, it's not going to be like that. It's going to be very specific, short phrases. So in the event you don't hear any of those things after 2 or 3, 4 tries, you're going to try a new question. What's inside that barn? Now we just opened up a whole new can of worms. They're horses. Their breed is draft horses. They delivered milk to Charleston. They also delivered eggs. We also have carriages in here. Hey, anything relating to horses. Remember, your DJs and song lyrics, they're not going to come up with, hi, I'm the horse named Ed. Like, it's just not going to be that way. It's going to be giving you words that are relative to that term. That's what we're looking for. The clues. Things that I can prove, obviously. So, it's not going to say what's inside the barn. Bob? I don't know if somebody named Bob works here. I don't know if one of the horses is named Bob. I need something specific. So, spirit boxes, like, that's pretty much how it's going to roll. You guys are going to go ahead and separate. I'm going to work with the thermal imaging team separately because I need to go into a little bit more detail with theirs. You know what to do with the lasers. Lasers do set off car alarms, if you remember, so keep them off the vehicles. As far as the EMF, we're already getting stuff. Oh, and you're supposed to speak up, man. Look how
I
crazy
couldn't tell if it was my phone.
Oh.
Because I thought it was pretty close.
So your phone would literally have to be touching that thing.
Okay.
Because cell phones do not give off that strong of a signal for that thing to be going to red that far away. It probably wouldn't even go up to red if it was touching it.
Okay.
So
doesn't
just
look like a pattern either.
Yeah, it's definitely not a pattern. I don't want any rhythms because I usually watch it for about 10 to 15 seconds and see if there's a rhythm there. That's where I start to kind of clue in. Now, am I excited about this? Yes, but I need something else. I'm not going to just get excited and say, the EMF went off at the red barn. We had a ghost. I can't prove that. I need one of y'all to give me something a little bit more. Do you have words, honey?
Question.
Oh, do you have a question?
Well, the one before that was pleasure, so
Oh.
I don't know.
That's interesting. So I'm going to show you more about that particular app when I start bouncing around and I'm done with the thermal team. But the rest of you, go ahead and scatter. We're going to stay within the confines of the lot so we can all see each other. And let's see what we can capture out of those spirit boxes.
Okay.
Thermal imaging team. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
We're
We're about to
ready.
become scientists.
Oh boy, you picked the wrong people.
Well, maybe I didn't. So go ahead and point your camera right at this wall. What do you got? Mainly one color, right?
Yep.
Hold it there. What happens to the wall now?
Change to blue.
Turns blue, right? So now we have a variation of color. That's what we want. We have enough people in this party tonight that you can try to keep a person in view at all times. My skin right now is the base temperature, so everything else is going to be based off of the warmest thing in the picture or the coldest area. That's just kind of how it works. So when I move out, it's got to find the warmest area again. So that's kind of how it fluctuates. So let's prove a point with what your job actually is. What's the temperature you see on your screen?
65,
Okay,
64
point your gun at the wall and tell me what temperature you have.
61.8.
Okay, now it's lower. They're not calibrated on purpose because there's no way I could calibrate it because you're getting all the air in between. She's just getting surface. In the event your temperature drops below hers, that's when you pull out the yellow one. That's when that makes sense. At the bottom left of the front of the is the button to turn it on and off.
This one?
Yep.
Okay.
And you're looking at the bottom number, remember? The top one is humidity.
Yep.
There's a whole science with ghosts and humidity that we don't get into.
Okay.
We just stick with temperature, keeping it simple. So that's when the yellow one comes into play. It's not super active. We don't always need it, but I like to have it at the ready.
Okay. So,
So-
when his is lower than mine,
Right.
then okay.
And you're here in this particular spot because we have metal, wood, asphalt, brick, foliage. You have a million types of material to learn how thermal imaging works. But I do want to show you a video just to kind of give you a gist of what you're actually looking for. It is proof that I caught with that specific camera you're holding. It's amazing proof. So if you're not convinced by it, yeah, I'll let you talk to the mechanics and firemen that told me that.
We use these when we look for people.
Oh, what do you guys do?
I'm a police officer.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you're somewhat familiar.
But we look for hot things because we
Right.
want them to be alive.
Right, exactly. So this is our next location. This orange that you see across here, that's a wall, okay? So that's obviously pretty warm. I'm going to rewind it because it's the point. So there's going to be 2 living people. Don't get excited. It's just a base point. See their living heads above the wall? That means they're walking on the other side of it. So we're going to fast forward a little bit, and we're going to go into where the dead people are. So there's going to be a person in view here, but along the wall going the opposite direction, you're going to see 2 dead people. Right about there. It's not a vehicle. It's not anything else that could have been flying by. I've literally had this thing analyzed frame by frame. So that's why I like a person in view at all times. Now I know that whatever that was going by was at least 25 degrees or more colder than what that warm spot was. So that's one of the things that I like to show off why that camera does what it does. You can also catch thermodynamics in reverse. So if you know anything about thermodynamics, law number 2 states you can't create or generate temperature. It just balances, right? So if it's cold right here, it means it's warm somewhere else. If you start to see something grow in heat, that means there's a cold spot generating nearby. I don't want you to try to find that cold spot. I want you to focus on, I'm talking like 5, 10, 15 degrees in like a 5 to 10 second time span, like very quickly. It's going to suck the energy out of that and move it somewhere else and generate somewhere else. Now, if you want to have her just start shooting that gun all over the place, that's what we want to do. Now, your yellow thermometer, it's not super quick. You're going to literally have to move slowly with it when you're trying to, prove things.
Okay.
I have one that's coming in that's a lot quicker, like within seconds. It's not going to be that one there I have. It's much more expensive upgrading. So, but literally walk around a lot once or twice while I follow up with everybody else, and then we're going to go learn some real history. Just kind of learn how all the different materials kind of show up. And are you a police officer too?
No.
I want to say, you guys going to arrest me when we're done?
No.
So, and where were you guys from again?
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. Yeah, I had a lot of people coming in from Wisconsin. I had a group for my last tour in Wisconsin, and then last week I had 3 groups from Wisconsin.
Oh,
I didn't
wow.
see Wisconsin in
cold.
all of 2020.
Cold up there. We want to come where it's warm.
This ain't, oh, well, I'm out here in shorts and a t-shirt, but I'm actually kind of chilly now. I got hot hands in my pocket that I keep pulling out. You guys will see me playing with them. But yeah, I was like, damn, I wear shorts. But at any rate, learn how it works just based on what you're using it for here versus the police work that you're used to.
Okay.
And just think of it as in an opposite effect, really.
Right.
And that way you get to learn more about temperature and maybe it'll actually help you out on your job. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'm just happy I'm not Aaron.
No, it's okay, Aaron. Yeah, I don't want to be Aaron either. Don't send me any places weird. Poor Aaron, he always gets sent to the worst places.
They feel me.
Yeah.
It was a great show.
darker, so that must be the trees, huh? Against the metal.
Yeah.
It's just weird that that building shows up so much more than everything else.
Yeah, but
You know, than this building.
right. But I think it's because
That building's heat.
yeah. Well, because there's heat here and there's heat here, which yes, I'm assuming that's a heated building. But look just directly at the barn. Take the people out. Because now it's the warmest thing in the. It's all relative. Which is why he wants you to keep a person in it to show the contrast if there's a dead person. The concept of that video he showed us was creepy. Like, dead people just walk around. Like, when we're dead, can we just roam around together?
Do we have to together?
Yeah, maybe. Just because it's till death do us part doesn't mean you have to leave me.
Oh, I
when we
know.
die.
That's what Nate told me. I can fucking be gone after that.
But we get the gist of how it works, right? Alright, so let's gather everybody up. Alright, so hang out here. Alright guys, let's gather up. So the only thing relevant that I see so far is we did get the word October on the digital spirit box. Have you guys seen anything weird yet?
No.
Okay. So we're going to be going to learn some real history. You guys haven't heard anything yet on yours, and you guys haven't heard anything yet on yours. The next location is technically, if I were to have one, a grand finale. Like, it's a ton of activity I get all the time. If I could stop there all night long, I would. There's too much to teach you guys. So let's go learn some real history. You guys ready? Mm-hmm. All right. Another beautiful spot at Charleston. Another parking lot, right? Told you ghost hunting wasn't pretty.
Yeah.
So,
Maverick.
what do you got?
Maverick. It said fast earlier while we were walking.
Okay. Well, then keep an eye on that for sure. How's your EMF?
It picked up a little bit, but not a lot.
So the first thing I'm going to tell you guys about this particular lot is they've never done an archaeological dig here, even though it is a historical site, which means there's no electrical lines underneath us, which means there's nothing that should be making that thing go off. So that's the first exciting piece of news. Second piece of news is that you guys are standing on the Eliza and Charles Pinckney mansion site. So yes, it is a parking lot now, but it holds a ton of history for Charleston and all 13 colonies of when this place was up. So, who were Eliza and Charles Pinckney? They had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. So there's 3 Charles if you're keeping count, by the way. The son and the nephew were signers of our Constitution. Pretty big deal for us here in Charleston, but I hate politics. CLOVE will tell you, I use this line in every tour. We're going to move on to Eliza. She's way more interesting. So, and not to mention it's Women's History Month. So, hey, I love bragging on that right now. You guys are really quiet. We got to get you guys having fun. So, this place is hopefully going to do it for you. Eliza married Charles at a young age. I'm not going to be giving you answers here like what color is George Washington's white horse, like the Red Barn thing over there. This is where you guys are going to hopefully find out the answers on your own through your spirit boxes and pieces of communication, and then we have backup evidence through the thermal temperatures. So, Eliza married Charles at a young age. Hopefully you can find out what that age was. There was a big age gap between her and Charles, and the reason she did that is because her father thought he was dying over in England. She didn't want to go. He wanted all his kids home, and she said, no, I don't want to go. She didn't think he was dying. So, she got married. She was right. Dad got better. He started sending over wedding gifts from England. Well, Eliza was a botanist, which means she played with plants a lot. One of those plants happened to be the plant indigo. It makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. Some of you are wearing it tonight. Actually, most of you are wearing it tonight. That's how we still use it today. So, cool thing about that is indigo was already here in Charleston. But the Pinckneys had slaves and they had servants that already knew how to keep this plant cultivated in our very weird temperatures that you can feel tonight. So they had to learn from their servants how to keep this plant going. It started right where you're standing, and then they moved it over to Snee Farm in Mount Pleasant on a plantation. Turned it into a huge cash crop after the rice plantation started going downhill. It's a pretty big deal. So it didn't save just Charleston and South Carolina, but all 13 colonies. Huge. So that's just the tip of the iceberg of things that Eliza's done for this country. But let's give you some weird facts that hopefully you can find out the answers for. These are hot hands, by the way. I'm a little chilly. I'm hanging on to them. So, Eliza was the second wife named Eliza from Charles, back to back. So both Elizas go by their maiden name. They both start with L. I'm not going to give you what those names are. Try to find out with your spirit boxes. If you guys want to hang out with somebody with spirit box, I know your ears are perking up there. I can see it. You can ask anything you want to about Eliza's death. How old she was when she died, how old she was when she got married, how did she die, where is she buried, and which U.S. president was a pallbearer at her funeral. Pretty big deal that a president carried her to her grave. Pretty awesome thing. Let's see, you can ask what happened to the mansion. You can also ask how many children she had. So usually I can get that answer out of her as well. I'm not going to give you a whole lot about the kids, just because there's a tragedy in there and it will kind of provoke, and we don't want to provoke anything. We don't want to bring up any bad memories. We want to keep it happy. So this is definitely a place where you can turn up your spirit boxes a little bit. What I'll tell you, Ben, is that some people get a little weird about their cars being filmed. So if somebody's coming up to their car, you're just kind of holding a cell phone. So I've been screened at plenty of times. It's not a good time. Later, as you guys know, we'll set off car alarms. We are in a parking lot. This is the only entrance and exit. This is the only way in and out of this lot. People come flying in here, so just kind of be mindful of that when you hear a car coming. So explore the lot. This is where I get to take a good 5-minute break before I start following up with all of you with my mask. So questions, comments, concerns about this place? There's a lot going on in here. By the way, this is where the video was that I showed you guys. It was up in that right-hand corner. So feel free to explore it again if you'd like. Let's get me some answers. Let's see what we got. Skedaddle, scram, turn up those spirit boxes. Come on, Captain Skeptic. Let's see what you can find us. All right. Okay, that's really annoying.
It's supposed to be.
How old were you when you got married? What do you think, Mom?
I was thinking that.
Let's do
You guys
it.
have any questions you want to ask?
He's terrible at them.
I don't know what you've already asked.
We
Everything.
asked how many children she had, and we heard 4, 5, 6.
Well,
Well, in that order, maybe.
Yeah.
How old were you when you died?
Does he have flu going on? How did she die? Did you die of the flu?
COVID bring bad memories?
How did you die? How did the mansion get destroyed? It's hard for me to understand that.
Can you turn up any more? Okay, keep it up.
How did the mansion get destroyed?
How old were you when you got married? That's like 7. How many years were between you and Charles?
What do we got?
We
Nothing.
asked how many children she had, and it said 4, 5, 6.
Got the right number.
Okay.
What? 4. So, here's the thing about that thing being slowed down. So, for example, what color is the red barn? It's holiday time. Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer.
Okay.
I still have the color red. I'm good. I'll take it. I'm going to get a few words before. I'm going to get a few words after. So 4, 5, 6, we got an answer. I'm going to take it. So, and what's funny is I had 6, 5, 4 show up on my last tour, but
really?
towards the ending, and I don't have a relation for that.
Yeah,
But
it
4,
was
5,
4,
6
5,
here, number 4, we're going to take it. So, all the disruptions. I'm interrupting. Let me go find out what the other.
Sorry, man. What color was the mansion? I didn't see either pen. What did I say? White?
I thought it said vitamins and regular rice.
What color was your mansion? Black. I heard black.
I heard that too.
Guess we'll see.
Does he know what color the mansion was?
I don't know. We'll have to ask him. Let's see. How many years were between you and Charles?
Like, oh, you're fine.
Distraction. I think it would be feel like that was the best. I'm not so long back.
Oh, the best? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, very big.
You haven't found yet? Oh yeah.
What you got, honey?
Nothing yet.
Did you hear that about the mansion color?
I briefly heard him. The only picture that he's got is what?
Is after it was destroyed. It was destroyed by a fire, so it was black when it was destroyed.
Another fire.
You're like the perfect camera. Nice still shots. I don't have to feel like I'm watching Blair Witch Project. You wouldn't believe half the videos I get. Nothing strange.
No, so far.
Again, it's not the most active tool I have, but it's nice to be at the ready. So
Right.
when stuff like the shadows that I showed you came up, it's
Well, that
there.
makes me question. I asked him, like, and when we're dead, do we just walk around together in places? Like, that's weird.
I don't know.
Still
And I don't have any
vacation.
answers, which is exactly why I do this.
Still vacation is
Yeah, we'll still take vacations
Spirits.
together.
free though.
Well, that's true. They would be free.
Free vacation.
A lot quicker travel, I would assume.
I don't know. Do you get a walk?
Portals.
Yeah, there's gotta be some type of, it's like,
So these are all topics I explore with my books,
Right.
basically. Because I explore reincarnation, I explore Greek mythology's underworld. Like that's what my fiction's about, which is why I do this stuff, so I can get better answers. Like
Right.
how would somebody get here from somewhere else? I don't know. So until I find more evidence and it makes more sense. Perfect cameraman. Love it.
That's all we've got so far. This one they came over that we started getting. Yeah, 4, 5, 6. I thought I heard a 19 or a 27, but I'm not. I don't know. I was asking her how many years were in the current world. But I think it's kind of well, I also asked her how old she was when she got here.
Okay, it's not picking like that.
it is,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just there. It is. The wall behind it. Yeah, point it towards the people who walk past. That app that you have, I've downloaded that before.
What is that?
It's one of those spirit box things too.
That white outline stuff?
I'm going to follow up with this last group and then we'll get you guys some answers. How about that?
Okay.
they're building. Must just be the way the light affects it.
Yeah.
It's weird that the brick walls.
There's so much heat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here, let's go closer to it.
Because even without any people in it,
Well, without people, it's going to. So,
it's going to be the warmest.
yeah, put it next. Now with me, is it still so red around me?
Yep.
And that wall is actually pretty warm.
It says that wall is 72.
68, yeah. 07.
Which is actually warmer than you are, than your surface.
What is my surface still?
69.
Maybe because it's brick versus like.
And held the heat from the sun.
Yeah, you live right across the street. You're the same thing. Versus that barn, which was just. So yeah, maybe brick holds the heat in better.
We're going to gather everybody up in the corner over here. Let me get them over there. We need to know.
Said we're gonna gather over here. In this corner right here.
Very cold spot.
Yeah.
Let's get you guys some answers. So, first time, let's go around and quick horn and kind of talk about what we found so far. Anything weird on the camera? Nothing crazy there. Nothing you guys saw. Tell us what you guys heard on your end.
We asked how many children she had. She said 4, 5, 6. And we asked what color the mansion was and said black, which apparently it burned down.
And we asked what happened to the mansion. We got burned.
So. Oh.
They got burned out of that one. We did get the word communicate on the list over there. So that's interesting only because Eliza used to communicate very differently, I guess, with her daughter because she lived in the Myrtle Beach area. She married in Horry, so she moved to Horry County. It wasn't Horry County back then. Oh, well, that would be how old she was when she died. Again, very vague. But the communication, I was looking for letters, ink, pen, quill, anything more specific. But again, that's how I got her kind of provoking those questions on that end. Let's see, what else? I think that was about all the evidence you guys told me about. We did get the term October on the way over here, or just inside that red barn lot, and I wait for it to show up again for it to be relevant, because Charles Pinckney did die in October, and he was born in October.
Oh, wow.
So usually it shows up twice. So when it's relevant, it's twice. And it's happened more than once. So let's give you guys the rest of these answers. Yes, it burned down. Great Fire of 1861 took this house out among many other buildings. It went from Peninsula Coast to Peninsula Coast. It's pretty big. We've had dozens of fires. Don't ask me how it started. I can't memorize them all. So it's crazy. Let's see. Eliza had 4 children, as you guys know. 3 sons, 1 daughter. 1 son did not make it past infancy. That's why I say don't poke around with the kids. She doesn't like to talk about it. And to be honest with you, sometimes she'll tell us that she had 3 kids. And more than once. So it depends on the night. His EMF's been going off the whole time. I've been watching it. So that's a good sign that there's going to be more on there. Eliza died at the age of 70 in her elderly years in Philadelphia from breast cancer. that we know of. We're going by medical records, of course. That's also where she's buried. See, we were talking about how would she get here? I don't know. But this is another reason why we don't visit cemeteries. If you're dead, are you going to be hanging out where you're buried? No, it's a hole. You're going to be going to the places that you love, like your own mansion that you had in life. Let's see, what else did you guys ask? Oh, George Washington was the U.S. president that took her to her grave. The only reason I know that because I got the EVP twice in 1 week and found it relevant just like the term October and had to do some research. That's how I found out about Mr. Washington. So, and I kind of gave you a little clue to that when I said this isn't going to be like George Washington's white horse, right? So I even put that suggestive thought in your heads to see if somebody would actually come up with it. And you guys didn't, so good job, you passed. So, what else did I have you guys ask? Was that about it?
How many years were between her and Charles?
Oh,
and
she
when
was
married?
She was 22 when she got married, and Charles was 45. So quick math tells us that's 23 years of age difference. So I told you it was in between 19 and 27, which are two numbers that they heard.
In between.
Yeah, right? So yeah, it's 8 in between. So 23 years age difference. So I doubt she was giving us equations
Yeah.
from 1793.
Well, when we first asked a question, she said, "Don't sweat it," or at least that's what we heard.
So I did catch a disembodied voice here last week, and I will tell you I've been touring this exact location for almost 2 years, and it's the first time I ever heard anything negative. And when I say disembodied, it wasn't radio chatter. It went over, I think I counted 11, 12 radio stations, and it said, "Just leave us alone."
Oh.
So since then, the evidence here has been somewhat weaker than normal. But the EVP is posted on the Facebook page where, of course, where your pictures are going to be posted. So you can check that out in the evidence folder. It's pretty evident when you listen to it, like, holy cow, that's definitely not a DJ. So it's literally a sigh, like, just leave us alone. Like, it's very prominent, very cool stuff. Unfortunately, I'm not going to leave them alone because they give me a lot of data that I can prove. So we're respectful and we're going to keep it that way. We're going to be walking up 4 blocks to Lodge Alley. Spirit Box listeners, I'm listening for names. I'm going to not tell you what those names are until we get there. Lodge Alley was very active for me last night. We'll see what happens tonight. I don't know so much about the last tour until I look at the data. Your EMF meter, Owen, is going to go off like crazy because of the parking meters. You can ignore it. Let's see what else. Absolutely no lasers on East Bay Street. Please keep filming. Picture taker. KAILA, right? I'm getting this right. Look at me go. So, KAILA, when we get to Lodge Alley, you're going to come up to the front of the crowd wherever you are, and you're going to take a few shots for us, because I always catch light anomalies going down there, and it's usually empty. Especially if it's empty, we're going to get you in the front to take a picture. So, you guys ready to go do some more ghost hunting?
Yeah.
Heather, are you convinced yet?
I've been convinced.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
I think Owen's on board, too. We're going to go this way.
What do you listen for? 4 things?
One step left, 2 down, Roseanne. Whatever happens, happens. It's my 7 o'clock where I gotta watch. Make sure I get back to the 9 o'clock. I think they've been my best friend.
You checking my temperature? Okay, what?
My meter. Good. Red. Red's good.
You want to get some more dessert?
Maybe. Gonna go.
Or seeing over there?
I like it. I think it starts later than we want to do. So this is technically a quiet area, so we're going to cut those spirit boxes off. We're going to turn the volume all the way down. We're going to be very brief here. So when we crossed over that last street coming this way, up East Bay, you're now inside the original Charlestown walls. So this is one of the first streets we've ever had in Charlestown. This is Lodge Alley. The reason why I was asking you to listen for names, did anybody get any?
No.
No? Nothing? What'd you get?
I said no.
Oh, I thought you said Paul. I'm like, I'm like, there's a Paul in there. People used to live down here. These two giant buildings that we see now, they weren't here. They had little shotgun houses. So I have the full list of residents of every person that's ever lived down here. It's not a very extensive list, but I normally get the names Benjamin and John. Last night?
Barn.
What do you got?
Barn.
Barn? Oh, well, we're past the barn. We're late.
Yeah.
Damn ghosts. So, this particular place is also where the Masons used to meet before people lived down here. So also I want you guys to picture the peninsula of Charleston in your brain. All this stuff on the outside, it's all man-made stuff. So all those buildings you guys see down there that are against the water, they wouldn't have been there. The smell of low tide would have come through here quite a bit. They did do an archaeological dig, and they found their tools and silverware and little pieces of their clothing. They were able to classify these people as lower class. There's a lot of things that happen down here, fires, robberies, all kinds of things. But I'm more interested in those names because it's a little bit more proof that we have somebody that actually used to live here. So we did take some pictures coming in, so hopefully we capture some light anomalies. I captured quite a bit in here as far as different types of cameras. If anybody's going to be taking pictures on their own and you capture something and you need me and my wife to analyze it, feel free to send it to me. You all have my phone number. We'll gladly take a look, but we will ask you what type of phone you have. My wife's day job, she works for Best Buy as a cell phone manager, and she majored in photography. So she knows every damn camera on every phone out there. So she knows all the different quirks of them and what they can do and what they can't do. So we'll see if it's actually real stuff or not. We've debunked quite a few things just based on iPhones. So take that for what it's worth. We are going to continue passing through here. However, it's going to be a neighborhood. Let's let this gentleman pass through here. We're going to be very quiet. Obviously, no lasers.
He changed his
It is a
mind.
neighborhood, so spirit box is down. We're going to be passing through very quickly until we get to our next spot. Tour guides are not allowed to be tour guides in neighborhoods. We're going to be pretty quick. So, questions, comments, concerns on the location? All right, let's go check out some legends and lore of Charleston. Lots more to learn.
It's a little uneven, if you know what I mean.
Exactly why everything's top of the front. Look at it. What do you want?
Narrow that house.
They all have their own house.
It's not attached to another one.
We're here for Christmas, so it was right around then. They were 24, 23, something like that. That was the one thing sleeves. Yeah. That was the end of the time. Yeah, that was, we did have a week on there, but I was like one of the first, like for a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. Well, and so once we get the story, I think you'll be able to.
It's dangerous.
It's way more fluid now.
Trying to videotape him off.
Yeah.
Just compare so much of history to,
Never be a cameraman for reality
Yeah.
TV.
Weren't they like
I get
really
it.
active?
Helmet mount.
yeah, that was where we got the most stuff. Where that's where it was. Yeah, that's where they saw stuff.
I got it. But thanks for watching out for me. I know you care now.
Just now. 9 years in, just figured it out.
Sure.
So that's fine. That's fine. Right? You think so?
I have no idea.
gets to have a seat. You guys get to chill for a few. It's not just a walking tour. This is ghost hunting. You guys need a break, right?
We saw Mason.
We came up Mason after we left the.
So when I get excited, that's when you guys get excited.
Yeah.
So Mason is very cool. Funny thing is, Mason also showed up there last night. So I told you, Lodge Alley was super cool for us. Did you get anything else? Sorry, Clove has been talking my ear off, so I'm sure he's fine with that. Did you guys get anything on yours? Have you been listening? I know, I told you it was cool. I know. You follow his directions, see there? All right.
And Adrian.
I don't have an Adrian down there. I don't have the list memorized, but I know Adrian's not down there. And not a whole lot of females, to be honest with you. So, not that it would be strictly female. It could be either way. Alright, so this is kind of the legends and lore portion of your ghost hunting, okay? So this is going to be a lot of story real quick, and then we're going to do one final investigation on the building far behind me with the crosses on it. But these are stories that you guys should know since you're in Charleston, because you can look this stuff up and just type in Ghosts of Charleston. These are the really common stories. So, first and foremost, I'm going to point out some things that other tour guides won't do. So, did you guys see the gorgeous alley that we walked past? Mm-hmm. That's Philadelphia Alley. That's where the duels of Charleston used to occur. So, we're not allowed down there anymore? Well, shouldn't even say anymore. We weren't allowed down there to begin with, but we were all kind of taking advantage of it. It's a great story down there about a doctor and an attorney that had a duel. He was known as the Whistling Doctor. You can hear his whistles as you walk through. The cool thing, I know, really weird. We've gotten some during my tours. But anyway, if you guys look at the wall behind you and notice the doorway in the center of it, not all duels end in death, right? So 75% of them, most of the time, the gun was shot in the air or into the ground. So when a death did occur, the dead guy would come through the gate. Of course, he's not going to do that on his own because he's dead.
Yeah.
But his friends are going to carry him through the gate, over the courtyard, over to the cemetery that they're standing in front of, where they drop the body and then go celebrate the winner. Nobody ever talks about why that doorway is actually there. So that's why it's there. It's named Philadelphia Alley because after dueling became illegal and dumb, we had to name it after a city that saved us after one of our dozens of fires that I told you guys about. So that's why it's named Philadelphia Alley. Philly gave us a bunch of money. So, a couple of weird things here. That's St. Philip's Church. The story that they're probably telling up there is very simple. I don't make it a big, long, dramatic thing. There's a sign right inside that cemetery that says there's no ghost at St. Philip's besides the Holy Ghost. And that's because they don't want creepers like me hanging around looking for apparitions. Because in 1888, a young lady died 6 days after her stillborn child. Her name was Sue Howard Hardy. Now, Sue, this was 1888, so 1987, 99 years later, we have a photographer in town. He lives here, and he's taking pictures of all the cemeteries, trying to put a project together. He captures a full apparition of a woman wearing a shawl and a baby basket next to her over that grave. So, do I show you the picture? I don't. It's cursed. I'm very superstitious, as I'm sure you all can imagine from my occupation. Women that hold it are not going to feel well. Same symptoms I kind of told you about back at Big John's. Females that are pregnant and holding the picture, like handling it, you're not going to have a good pregnancy. I'm not going to curse my own tours. I'm not getting that phone call 9 months from now. So I'm not going to even bother. If you want to look it up, you have her name, Sue Howard Hardy. If I call her Susan, that spirit box loves to correct me. And it will come up with Sue all the time. So I was good tonight, and I did not call her by the wrong name.
I think you did that last time and it came up.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Again, if I say Susan by accident,
Yeah.
it will correct me. Somebody will correct me. So, first off, you should know that this is St. Philip's Church, and it actually is. Remember I told you about the earthquake? This is not standing perfectly upright. It's actually off a little bit from that earthquake. You can't see it, but just know that it's there. There are two different sides to the cemetery. We have the eastern side and the western side. The eastern side is for native Charlestonians only. For you history buffs, John Calhoun is buried on the other side. They moved his sarcophagus 3 different times across the street trying to figure out if he was actually from here or not. So, again, just one of those fun little historical facts that you guys should know. Let's see, are they parting their these folks walking by? So, can everybody kind of see the gas lamp off in the distance? Okay, so that's on the other side of the western part of the cemetery. That is what we call the pirate house. The pirate house is where allegedly Blackbeard's men would come off their ships, have a few drinks, meet with a few ladies, and have a place to sleep. Blackbeard stayed on ships. He never set foot on our soil. So whatever you read, it's a lie. So, why is the pirate house so important? Because they dug a tunnel from the pirate house 1 block over to Dock Street Pier. At the time, it would have been Planters Hotel, back in the 1700s. Planters Hotel, interesting place because it ties back to St. Philip's Church. The ghost you see inside Dock Street Theater, which was once Planters Hotel, is that of Nettie Dickerson. She worked here at the church. She was past the marrying age of 17. Nobody wanted to marry her at the age of 23. She was an old maid. So, she sees all the prostitution going on down at Planters Hotel. I'm going to keep it PG, no worries. But she sees everything that's going on down there at the hotel, and she goes down there to get a job. She buys a red dress. She's the best loved girl in the whole place, and she's still unhappy. So she used to go out to the second story balcony and ponder about coming back to the church. One night the priest sees her out there. He goes down there to talk her into coming back, and a storm rolls in and lightning strikes the wrought iron banister that you guys are leaning on. Just like what you guys have. It strikes her dead. Now, very abrupt story. Yes, she's dead. But what's the interesting thing is you can only see Nettie's ghost from the knees up. Why is that? Because we renovated Duck Street Theater and we raised that first floor ceiling. So she's walking on the second floor that she knows. Does that make sense? So that's the way you can see her ghost. And also they say you can see it in color, which is very interesting because of the red dress. When you think of a ghost and an apparition, it's usually milky white and that kind of thing. This, they say you can see it right in color. I don't have any proof of that. The other ghost there is that of Junius Booth, father of John Wilkes Booth, who shot Lincoln in a theater. He was a traveling actor during the time, and he used to just kind of travel through. He was apparently just loved this place so much that he just haunts the place. He didn't die here, he's not from here. He's not even buried anywhere nearby. Not that that matters, like Eliza Pinckney coming down to her house. But again, Junius Booth can be seen in period dress. She's not happy. Maybe she's Nettie. I don't know. So, interesting thing too about the whole Junius Booth thing, there's a tie to that with Edgar Allan Poe. You guys know that there's a lot of Edgar Allan Poe history here? If you didn't, you do now. There's a ton of it. Allegedly, during the period of Junius Booth was when Edgar Allan Poe's mother was a child actress here. So that just kind of puts it all together. Edgar Allan Poe actually served in the army from Sullivan's Island here under the name Edgar's Carry. You go to Sullivan's Island, you have Poe Restaurant, you have the Poe Library, and all these things are Edgar Allan Poe. The story of Annabelle Lee, the big long poem of She Died by the Sea, yada yada yada. Allegedly, she's buried here in Unitarian Church, which is about half a mile that way, behind us, behind me. So the story about that is very simple. Dad didn't approve of Edgar, so when she died from by the sea, whatever that disease was, he buried two unmarked graves. So Edgar couldn't find her when he came back from wherever he was shipped off. The Unitarian Church nor the Edgar Allan Poe Society will confirm this theory or confirm that the Annabelle Lee story isn't true at all. So just kind of take that for what it's worth. You take any other ghost story and they walk by Unitarian Church, that's the story you're going to hear. It's going to be long and dramatized. Are you guys ready to go learn about some really cool pirates? What about you, Owen? You into pirates? Yeah? All right. We're going to learn about some really cool, famous pirates. She's killing it. Do you guys want to see the sign first?
Yeah.
Let's do that. Let's go look at the cemetery. Here's our famous sign. By all means, let's get some video in here. Let's get some pictures around here. The lasers can actually be shot in here if you keep them low enough, and we can maybe hopefully capture something. That would be really cool too. You've got the lasers. Let's try to keep them low. The green would probably work a little bit better with the pictures too. And if you turn the tip of that, you'll actually get more dots. So hold it on. There you go, 2 hands. Who's got our camera? You got that?
Trying. Sorry with the bars.
I know. It makes for great social media pictures. I use them all the time, so take as many as you want. I throw my Stories in a Cemetery logo on that stuff and slap it all over social media. to convince you yet, man. Okay, I just keep calling you out. That's why I don't ask where the skeptics are. That's exactly why I don't do that anymore. Because I focus on it, like I got something to prove, and they're already here. But you get some really cool orbs around this too, with different types of cameras. But again, some of them have debunked pretty quickly. If you guys take pictures, if you want me to look at anything, just let me know. Alright, I think is she out of my way yet? Nope. That's alright, we can actually go around to the side.
He sure is dressed like a Ghostbuster. That guy's dressed like a Ghostbuster.
Oh, the big fur compact. Nice. You know, Bill Murray does live here.
No, that's just dude.
Yeah. I'm not kidding. I actually thought about contacting his PR people just to see if I can get some pictures and stuff for marketing, based on what I do. I mean, he lives here. You know, you guys didn't know that Bill Murray
Bill?
lives.
Yeah.
Oh,
Out
really?
on Sullivan's Island, right?
Yep. Yeah. So, it's very interesting. He's on the wrong damn tour. So, we're going to be talking about the Powder Magazine, which is the building over here that looks like it has crosses on it. So, those aren't crosses, those are earthquake bolts. So, if you're not familiar with earthquake bolts or you haven't heard about those yet, because of our big scare in 1886, the gist of that is they put holes through the roof or through the floors of the buildings. That way, in case they do get quaked, you can tighten up those bolts and the building will stand back up straight again.
Is that what all those little plates are?
Yep, exactly what those are. As you're walking around town, you'll see them covered in lion heads, pineapples, weird decorations. But the earthquake bolts you see on the Powder Magazine, the big crosses, those are the very first earthquake bolts that we installed. Why? Because this is the oldest government building on the East Coast. Literally. 1713 is when it was finished. The interesting thing about this is, I told you guys that we were inside the Charlestown walls. That wall went right up Cumberland Street. Obviously, Cumberland Street wasn't there. It was a big wall. About another half block past the Powder Magazine is where the wall started going down towards the Battery. So the Powder Magazine is literally parked right in the corner between the two walls. Reason for that, we're 3 blocks away from the water. If it were to get hit from a cannonball, the walls are 32 inches thick. So if it gets blasted, there's sand in the roof. So it'll blow the sand up, and the sand is supposed to fall down and take out the smoke from the gunpowder that's inside. So that's the whole purpose. And the sand from 1712 is still there because this building has never been attacked. Now, it's also served in 7 different wars. Keep in mind they moved gunpowder, so it's not from start to finish. 7 different wars where they put gunpowder in here to hide it and then move it somewhere else. It's a museum now. You can visit it. It's really cheap, really quick, little 30-minute tour, but really cool stuff if you're really into history that much. So, during the time period that this place was being built is where the story comes from. This place took about a decade to finish. So 1703 to 1713. About 1708, 1709, a young lady moved here with her father and his mistress, which happened to be her mother. So he moved here to get away from his wife from Ireland. Obviously, she must have been pretty feisty. So he picks up his mistress and his daughter. They move to Charleston. He wants to start all over again. So she's pretty young, but she turns into a teenager, and we have pirates coming into town. One of those pirates she falls in love with, his name was James Bonney. So she falls in love with him. Dad's not approval, so they move to Jamaica. They get married. She's now Anne Bonny. Okay, so Anne Bonny is a pretty famous female pirate. Are you getting anything?
Behave.
She did not behave at all. It's just very...
Bail.
That's very interesting. That's going to come relevant at the end of the story. So, we're going to take it. That's good stuff. So what happened from there is that James did not turn out to be the pirate that she wanted him to be. She wanted a badass Captain Jack Sparrow type guy, right? So he becomes a privateer, which basically means he's a spy for the British. He's spying on his own men. She married a coward. So she falls in love with another pirate, John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. So much cooler name, much younger guy. And Calico Jack tries to buy the dowry back from James Bonney so that he can marry her, and he says no. So during her entire affair with Calico Jack, she's still married. So she has to keep her name, Anne Bonny. Oh wait, it gets better. I see you rolling the eyes. So, Calico Jack has a ship. She wants to be part of it. He says, okay, you can be a female in my quarters, but to join the crew, you have to be a male. So she has to dress like a guy. Like, whatever. So she's let it be female in his quarters, so eventually she gets pregnant. So what's he do? He drops her off in Cuba to have the baby. We don't know what happened to that baby because she comes back to the ship dressed as a female, pretty pissed off. That's all we know. He told her to come back dressed as a male. So now he's mad at her, and during the time that she was gone, Calico Jack captured another pirate ship and has prisoners down below deck. She decides she's going to go down below deck and flirt with these prisoners.
She becomes a target.
A what?
A target.
A target. Possibly. I like the word bail better. So, the guy she's flirting with reveals their gender as a female. And she was doing the exact same thing that she was doing to join the pirate crew that she was part of. So again, it's all twisty around this part. So, that lady's name was Mary Read, by the way. So Anne Bonny and Mary Read, two famous female pirates. So what happens from there is she convinces Mary to join the crew, and she does. They become friends. All the other pirates are too drunk downstairs protecting the other prisoners they just captured, and the British invade. So it's just Anne Bonny and Mary Read trying to take on the entire British fleet. So obviously the ship gets captured. All the prisoners get tried and hung for piracy. And then Anne and Mary, their trial is a week later because they were the only two fighting back. Chief Justice Nicholas Laws in Jamaica wants to see them two separately. He doesn't know that they're female. So they reveal their gender while they're in court. He says, I don't care, I'm still going to try and convict you. Then they plead their bellies, which means they claim that they were pregnant. All that did was delay their hanging. Well, Dad bails out Anne because he's here in Charleston with his Irish money and gets her out of the Jamaican jail. As for Mary Read, she died from whatever pirates died from in a Jamaican jail. Use your imagination. What do we know about Anne Bonny's life afterwards? Dad brings her back to Charleston. Some rumors say she stayed here, got remarried, and had kids, and then died at the age of 84. Other rumors say that she moved to Virginia and we lost track of her. At this point, you guys know how to ask questions to your spirit boxes. You know how to use the equipment that you've had. I'm not going to be giving you suggestive questions. There's a crap ton of info in that story. I'm here to there's too many holes. I've read, I don't know how many books on Anne Bonny and Mary Read. What I just told you are the common things. That's it. There's more to it somewhere. I just don't know which part's true. So I'm relying on the evidence that you guys are going to capture for me. The tie to this is that this is the oldest government building, which means it's one of our oldest buildings in Charleston. It's not the oldest. It's the oldest government building. So it's going to be something familiar. She watched this place being built. Cameras, you guys can actually venture to the front of the building if you want with lasers and kind of see if you guys can get some more pictures that way too. Spirit boxes, again, side of the building, front of the building, wherever you guys want to go. These are apartments back here. Looks like all the lights are out, so people are going to be sleeping. So let's kind of be mindful, even though Tommy Condons is really annoying tonight. They were playing bagpipes earlier on my last tour. What do you think? Yeah, so, and what's cool is my last tour, the word Irish came up here. Yeah, I can't make this stuff up, guys. I mean, seriously. So we're going to hopefully find some more. Turn up those spirit boxes. Let's have some fun. We'll probably spend a good 10-15 minutes in here like we did with the Pinckney Mansion site, and then we're going to wrap this up. Kind of see what we captured. Fair? All right, skedaddle. Let's see what we can get. So to get to the front there, if you wanted to, you would go out this way and make a left, and you'll be able to see the front of the building.
Okay.
If you wanted to go that way. Yeah, these are all earthquake bolts here too. You can see them on every floor. Now that we're closer, we still put them in because it's a
Like
Charleston.
even new construction?
We don't have a whole lot of new construction. When we do, no, it's usually commercial, whatever that comes in. They don't know anything about earthquake bolts. They're in California.
How often do earthquakes happen?
They don't.
Not anymore?
They're just decoration. That's why people put their lion heads and pineapples and all kinds of mess on them.
Okay.
They're not, I mean, they're functional. We just don't have to.
Right.
And somebody told me that they're out in California too. And I don't know if we took the idea from them or if they took the idea from us. So I never really looked into it any further. Just because they're fun to point out. Because to me, it's ridiculous. We don't need them. But it is. But if you look at the construct of those first ones, they're not even cut evenly.
Right.
You know, they're basically meant to brace the bolts coming out. And you can see the bolt in the center if you get close enough. But yeah, it's a weird thing. The more interesting thing to me is that roof is filled with sand. And sand doesn't disintegrate, so it's still there. We did some repair work on some of those shingles in the 1990s when they were turning this back into a museum. And the sand is still there. And you can find pictures of it online. It's amazing. Just the fact that there's something of nature still in there
Right.
blows my mind. I'm more interested to see. Her word list is actually pretty good tonight. We got some good stuff out of that.
Where was this one? The priest was like, fighting for everybody walking in. Try to like go up so you can see past the others. What happened to your baby? How many babies did you have?
Very tough.
Here, get closer. Annie, do you remember this building?
I don't know. Annie, are you okay?
I cannot with you. Annie, if you stop here,
We're just stripped down.
shut up.
The whole first picture thing was a little freaky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pull in the front and get anything?
No, not that we noticed at least.
Yeah, and that's the thing is a lot of times on that thing, it's the next morning. I need it on the TV or the big screen computer so I can really kind of take a peek through it.
Well, and we can't watch it every, like
Right.
moving it around and walking.
Exactly.
You can't watch every
That's why I
second.
said before, when you were just holding it like you are now, I'm like, that's perfect. Because that's when I'll literally watch that thing for 5, 10, 15 minutes and I'll be delayed because I'm watching such a still picture.
Right.
And it's kind of like, that's what I want, the still pictures. And again, those are meant to be, when you're using them in ghost hunting format, you want them in a room. Same thing with the lasers. You know, you want those set up still so that way they're not moving around and When a video camera, regular camera's on them, or a spectrum light camera, then you can see the movements coming through the lasers, or you can see the movement. You know what I mean? For this, you know, this is a teaching training. You know what I mean? Let's get you out in the field and see what happens. You know, and I capture stuff. It's just, it's not as evident as if I was in one location. Now, when I go on my own investigations, the funny thing about that camera is it's usually in a cargo pocket with just the camera hanging out. So I just get the view of wherever I walk to. Because, I mean, I visit places just like you guys.
Right.
That red spirit box is on mute in my pocket. The EMF's in another pocket. The audio recorder's going. So, I mean, I have stuff to watch. I'm just enjoying the museum just like you guys would. I'm just recording everything.
Right.
So I just listen and watch for it later. Not to mention, my phone has that word list app. So it's running on my hip. Nobody knows what I'm doing. And my wife's taking all the pictures for me. She's the photographer. So the blog post looks pretty, and then I get all the evidence.
Got another name.
What you got?
Henry. Henry and then represent.
Don't know the Henry that was involved with this whole shenanigans. His dad, what was dad's name? Oh my God. John Cormack? I know the mom was Mary Brennan. But the Chief Justice was Nicholas Laws. That's not him either. Did you guys get something?
Cross County Road or any of those regions? No. We weren't getting much.
Definitely not road.
Okay.
Yeah, we're talking 17 teens into the 1720s.
The only other thing I got was 843, but I figured
That's an area code here.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's our area code. That's the number I texted you from, was an 843 number.
Oh, okay.
So
I can't remember what I asked to get that, but
843 is not significant. And the Diamonds Direct commercials that come through, God, they annoy me because there's 1,000 of them in there. Stop the Diamonds Direct, and it always comes through in a fully
How warm the front of that car is.
Alright, let me get these guys gathered up and
Must have been parked
give you
recently.
guys a few more minutes. Listen in. We'll get this party going.
That would be convenient. I had been looking for somebody. I don't know how long the car is parking.
I wonder if this is just the name of the app.
Clear, that is the, like, that's what we call ours. It's something infrared. That's what the technology itself is. At the corner it says FLIR, and that's how that little 4-year-old that Franklin had missing 2 days ago, that's how they found her. They used an infrared camera on a drone and put it up in the air, and that's how they found her.
Kind of useful to use for like deer hunting.
Yeah.
Blood. Yeah, Sleepy Mouse.
Surprisingly not that bad. But I did have soda, so. Well, I guess I won't be able to sleep at all. For having your arms up the whole time.
Alright. Am I on film?
You
Am
are.
I a ghost? So, on the other spirit box, they heard the term baby, which is obviously relevant. We don't know who is baby, or which one, which pregnancy, God knows which one.
we were asking that over and over. I got nothing. This one.
Like what happened to your baby?
Yeah. So,
What your baby?
also be one of those provoking questions like with Eliza's kid. So what I didn't tell you guys too is that when questions are being asked, there's 5 pieces of communication out there. The audio from the camera, my audio, and 3 spirit boxes. The answer can go anywhere. So a lot of times what I would do to test that, and especially at the Pinky Mansion site, is I would ask Eliza with my spirit box, if I was using one, how many people did I bring with me? And then somebody's going to turn around and say 9. It's a very specific number, right? I mean, that's an obvious answer, and nobody knew what question I was going to ask. So again, I do that all the time. I don't have a spirit box that I'm using tonight. I would normally use a reverse spirit box, but with this as a group, you can see how I'd like to bounce around with all of you. So that way I was able to do that and not focus on my own device. So, did you guys hear anything else out of your spirit box besides baby? Alright, so, any other words?
Launch.
Launch? I'm wondering if Henry is a ship. Now that I'm thinking about it. I'm going to dive into that, see if there was a pirate ship in Henry. That would be kind of cool. Your list is amazing. So I'm pretty excited about that. You guys have some we had some conversations about the things that and of course we had your recording for the things you didn't. So, which is exactly why we set it up this exact way. We didn't touch anything on the thermal imaging in real time, so I'll definitely have to review that in the morning. Watching the way he was using that camera is perfect. So I'm going to hopefully be able to catch something in the morning because he was as still as he could possibly be with it. I didn't see a whole lot of red dots with the thermometers going on, so I don't know how much temperature changes you guys were gauging, but I'll be able to hear the conversations to see if there was like, hey, what was this, what was that? So again, we'll kind of take it for what it's worth.
We're asking where to find her.
Here.
Well, again, kind of broad. I mean, I know it's in real time and it is a direct answer, but I look for more like magazine, powder, you know, Charleston.
I just kept asking, like, or where can
Oh, because you guys did get Find Me, right?
Yeah.
Which is interesting because I think like that's a phrase that'll often pop up on there that I usually disregard on the word list because it's pretty common. Again, it's part of that let's make this scary thing. So I say let's get these devices collected. I'm going to take yours last because it's recording. We want to get as much out of it as we possibly can. And then we'll get you guys my card. You already have it. But that way you guys can check out the website ahead of time. You guys can ask me a million questions if you want to. You'll see where we're at on the audio. I'm going to give you just a sum of data you're going to have. It's almost 11. See, I don't even pay attention to the time with you guys. Yeah. So you got an hour and 43 minutes out of the audio recording, so about an hour and a half. So probably close to 6 hours, and I'm going to give you probably 12 hours worth of reading based on all the data you guys collected. So you guys got a lot to go through. I'm going to go through it for about 2 hours in the morning, because of course I can't cover it all, but I don't want to take away your fun of going through the evidence anyway. So I'm just going to give you enough to be able to teach you more about the devices you didn't have, and you guys will have some more ahead of you fully finished. So, alright, let's get those devices, and I'll get you guys my card. Where are you guys all going from here? I know where this is going. Where are you guys going? Okay, that's easy enough. I can get you back to that corner. My garage is on this street, as I'm sure you guys can guess why. So it's easy for me to get back to my vehicle. What about you guys? Do you know where you're going?
We're parked in here.
Oh, look at that. Did I help direct you with that?
No,
Oh.
that was just a happy coincidence.
Perfect. Yeah, my garage is down that way, so I have a monthly garage that I just pay for instead of fighting for parking.
I'll get some last minute questions in.
Okay.
I'll make sure you get it.
Okay. Yeah, they're coming with me to buy some books, so. Right, I'll get that list and make sure it's good to go. Make sure it's gonna save camera. Thank you, sir. Amazing.